Never follow voices calling your name. Evan. The voice came from the trees. Soft. Calm. Close enough to feel real. Evan froze on the trail, his breath catching in his throat. Pine needles crunched under his boots as he stopped moving. The forest around him was dark now, the kind of dark that swallowed shapes and made distances feel wrong. Tall trees blocked the last bits of sunset, turning Yosemite National Park into a maze of shadows. Evan, the voice said again. It sounded like his sister. His heart began to pound. Lena? He called back before he could stop himself. Silence. Then a branch snapped somewhere to his left. Evan, wait up, the voice said, clearer now. It was definitely Lena's voice. The same gentle tone she used when they were kids hiking together. The same way she said his name when she was worried about him. But Lena was not here. She was back in San Jose. She had dropped him off at the park entrance 2 days ago. Evan's mouth went dry. Every warning he had read online rushed back into his head. Never follow voices. Rangers say it all the time. When you're lost, your mind will trick you. Still, his feet shifted toward the sound. Don't, he whispered to himself. The voice moved farther into the trees. Evan. I can't see you. The flashlight in his hand trembled. His phone had died hours ago. His map was useless in the dark. He had stepped off the trail earlier, thinking he saw a shortcut. Now everything looked the same. Tall trunks. Black space between them. Endless forest. The voice sounded farther away now, like it was walking. Help me, it said. Evan took one step forward. Then another. The forest grew quieter the deeper he went. No insects. No wind. Even his footsteps sounded muffled, like the ground was swallowing the noise. Lena? He called again. The voice answered instantly. I'm right here. But something was wrong. The words were right. The voice was right. But the timing wasn't. It replied too fast. Like it was waiting. Evan stopped walking. His heart slammed so hard it hurt. I'm not coming, he said out loud, forcing the words to come out strong. I know you're not real. The forest stayed still. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the voice changed. It still sounded like Lena, but now it was closer. Right behind him. Why won't you help me? Evan spun around, shining his flashlight wildly. Nothing. Just trees. But the beam caught something on the ground. Footprints. Bare footprints. They were small, like a child's, pressed into the dirt and pine needles. They led away from him, deeper into the trees. And they were fresh. Evan's chest tightened. His hands felt numb. He backed away slowly, then turned and ran. Branches scratched his arms. Roots grabbed at his feet. His lungs burned, but he didn't stop until he tripped and fell hard onto the forest floor. He lay there gasping, listening. The voice did not follow. But something else did. A sound like slow breathing drifted through the trees. Not close. Not far. Everywhere at once. Evan squeezed his eyes shut. That was the moment he understood how people disappeared out here. But this was not where the story began. It began the day before, when everything still felt normal. Evan had come to Yosemite alone to clear his head. Work had been overwhelming. Life felt loud. He wanted quiet. Nature. Space to think. The ranger at the entrance had smiled and handed him a map. Stay on the trails, she said. And if you hear anything strange, don't follow it. Happens more than you'd think. Evan laughed it off. The first day was perfect. Blue sky. Cool air. The kind of beauty that made you feel small in a good way. He took photos. Ate trail mix. Watched the sun slide behind the mountains. That night in his tent he heard something. A voice. Far away. Calling his name. He thought he was dreaming. The next morning, he found footprints near his campsite. Bare. Too small to be his. Leading toward the trees. He packed up and kept hiking. By afternoon, he started feeling tired in a strange way. Not just sore, but foggy. Like his thoughts were moving slower than his body. He missed a trail marker. Then another. When the sun began to set, he realized he was lost. And now, alone in the dark, Evan pushed himself up from the ground and stumbled forward, trying to find higher ground. His flashlight flickered. That's when he saw it. A figure standing between the trees. Still. Watching. It looked like a person. About his height. Head tilted slightly, like it was curious. "Hello?" Evan said, his voice barely a sound. The figure did not move. Then it opened its mouth. And in his own voice, it said his name. Evan. Evan. Hearing his own voice spoken back to him made his legs give out. He stumbled backward, nearly dropping the flashlight. The beam shook as it stayed pointed at the figure between the trees. It didn't step forward. It didn't step back. It just stood there, thin and still, its shape blending too well with the dark forest behind it. "That's not me," Evan whispered. "You're not me." The thing tilted its head, copying the movement exactly. "Evan," it said again, perfectly this time. Same tone. Same small crack in his voice when he was scared. Evan turned and ran. He didn't care where he was going anymore. He just ran, crashing through bushes, sliding down rocky ground, his lungs screaming. The forest finally came alive again, birds startled into flight, branches snapping, gravel rolling under his boots. He didn't stop until he reached a clearing. Moonlight spilled across open ground, lighting up granite rocks and low grass. Evan collapsed near a boulder, gasping, his hands shaking so badly he could barely hold the flashlight. The forest stayed quiet. No voice. No breathing. Minutes passed. Then he heard something real. A whistle. 3 short bursts. A ranger signal. Evan cried out and staggered toward the sound, waving his flashlight wildly. "Here. I'm here." A figure emerged from the trees, solid, human, wearing a ranger uniform. A headlamp shone across Evan's face. "Easy," the ranger said gently. "You're safe now." Evan broke down. He couldn't stop shaking as the ranger gave him water and wrapped a jacket around his shoulders. Another ranger joined them, speaking quietly into a radio. "You're lucky," one of them said. "We've been searching since your sister reported you missing this morning." "My sister?" Evan asked weakly. "She said you called her last night," the ranger replied. "Said you were lost?" Evan stared at him. "I didn't call anyone. My phone died yesterday." The ranger frowned but didn't press him. They led Evan back to camp as the sky slowly lightened with dawn. The forest looked normal again. Peaceful. Like nothing bad could ever happen there. At the ranger station, Evan told them everything. The voices. The footprints. Hearing his own name spoken back to him. The rangers listened quietly. When he finished, one of them nodded. "You're not the first," she said. "People get exhausted. Dehydrated. The mind fills in gaps. Yosemite is beautiful, but it can play tricks on you." "But the footprints," Evan said. "And the calls. We find strange things all the time," she replied carefully. "Most of them have simple explanations." She didn't sound convinced. They let Evan rest. By noon, he was sitting on a bench outside the station, sipping coffee and watching tourists take photos like nothing was wrong. That's when his phone buzzed. It was plugged in, charging. A missed call notification blinked on the screen. Unknown caller. Timestamp, 2:47 a.m. His stomach dropped. He hadn't had power at that time. Slowly, another notification appeared. New voicemail. Evan stared at the screen for a long time before pressing play. At first, there was only wind. Then a voice whispered softly. "Why didn't you come?" Evan's hands went cold. The voice continued calm and patient. "You almost listened. Most people do." The message ended. Evan looked up. Across the parking lot, just beyond the trees, he saw movement. A familiar shape standing between the trunks. Watching. It lifted a hand and waved. Evan turned away, heart pounding, and walked straight into the ranger station without looking back. He left Yosemite that afternoon. Years later, Evan would still hike, but never alone, and never without a radio, a map, and daylight. Sometimes, late at night, when the world is quiet, he hears it again. A voice calling his name from far away. And every time, he remembers the rule that saved his life. Never follow voices calling your name.